right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to TheoTRADE Chat. It's Don Kaufman here. I am broadcasting live in Scottsdale, Arizona. Sit down. It's time to get started here this morning. So, yeah, we're actually broadcasting from our hotel location here as we get ready to present to our live event. But it's early right now. It's for most of the crew here anyway. Anyway, so welcome everybody. We're going to get started here. Well, right now S&P's up some 10 handles and not doing a huge amount this morning. I'm actually gonna drop out of every program so I make sure that my stream is good. All right. Yeah, it is. It's Friday the 13th. You have to love that. So you're about 90 seconds to go to the cash open. First of all, we're sitting right now at 50, 56, 56.11. And I will say this, I did not expect much out of yesterday. We got a lot more action yesterday than I anticipated. To the upside, that is, and it's pretty interesting actually looking at the SPX, and once again how far outside the expected move we happen to be. So the upper edge of the expected move is 55.38. Where are we trading right now? 55.95 plus the 10 points from this morning. We're over 5,600. We are substantially outside the expected move. Not any stretch as large as, of course, last week, but you have to start thinking about we're almost back to levels that we were last week, early last week, which is 56.45. We're only going to be within about 35 points away from that, which is pretty shocking after that sell side activity. There's a lot of individual stocks in the news, but none of them are to the magnitude that they're going to move markets. It's basically NVIDIA versus the market on a day-to-day basis here. And taking a look specifically at NVIDIA, what do we got this morning? It's massively unchanged. There's nothing going on in there. There's big selling going on specific to Boeing. It's bounced a little bit. Let's come to the bell, get a feel for AD line, which is going to a complete and total slop fest this morning. 80 line, I was actually guessing it was going to be closer to 50-50, but the day is young. Ticks this morning, it's going to be scattered. It's going to be broken. Look, there's nothing incredibly discernible about trade just yet. No, that can't be. Positive 14, almost 1,500 tick. It's wildly strong out of the gate. Well, I stand corrected here. This is actually a huge positive tick right out of the gate, which I am taken back by that a little bit because the advanced decline line is nowhere near that. By the way, this is Adobe, which we'll talk about. Some earnings announcements. I mean, again, some individual products, some big moves, but none of the real players are making moves. And I'll just give you a quick example here, like NVIDIA, as I was saying this morning. NVIDIA, and again, I'm shocked that the actually ticks are this positive. So NVIDIA, which has been the bigger and the biggest player in the room throughout the course of the week, if you look at its expected move on the week, this is in over 2 standard deviations right now to the upside. You got that going for you. That was the driver throughout the course of the week. Look around though. Stuff like Meta, it's outside the expected move, not all that significant. Taking a look at Tesla outside, not all that significant. Amazon early in the week exploded to the upside. Amazon is actually very close to being beyond 2 standard deviation. You're almost into 3 deviation move kind of territory over here. And interestingly enough, Apple has done nothing. So there's not a consistent or continuous bid through everything. Obviously Microsoft as well, but not a consistent and continuous bid through everything. But when tech came back to life this week, well, so goes the marketplace. I mean, it's gotten to the point where, again, tech seems to be the only thing that matters. Why I'm actually bringing that to your attention, well, you need only look over at something like the financials, which is, the financials here. You're looking at a week where they are massively unchanged. So what do you really have that has taken the markets higher? Clearly, it's not energy. Okay, evidently, as I said a moment ago, it's not the financials. As I kind of zoom into the financials here, what do you have? Okay, you don't even have all the tech stocks because I just pointed out that Apple, okay, for the most part is, I mean, it's up, but it's pretty close to unchanged in the week, right? Um, that's it. You have a handful of tech stocks, but those handful of tech stocks, are the equivalency now of anywhere between 12 and $15 trillion of market cap. And it's just wild, all right, to see the capacity for the entire S&P to move. Again, the capacity for the entire S&P to move, largely predicated, let's call it this week on, 5, 6 stocks. It's not the Magnificent Seven this week. Is again, no participation from Apple. Tesla broke to the upside, but not nearly as significantly. And by the way, I didn't even bring up Google. Google is to the upper edge of the expected move, but not exactly like a stellar moment in the life of Google. So this morning, again, what do I anticipate out of the marketplace? Again, I didn't anticipate much yesterday, and today pretty much feel the same. Volatility, as I was saying this in the Wednesday night video, volatility, I anticipated it to crush down. It has actually crushed down. The next time we're going to face, a real test of the marketplace would be into next week. Obviously, next week is going to get a little bit more interesting, simply because, well, we have the Fed, announcement next week. I'll tell you though, I don't put that much in the Fed announcement, other than where he's actually going to speak a little bit. The market right now is anticipating at this point 25 basis point cut. So yada yada yada. What else really matters? Right? There's no big data points coming out. We have consumer sentiment this morning. That's going to hit us in about 25 minutes. So keep your head in the game a little bit today. Consumer sentiment could definitely rock markets to some degree. It's the University of Michigan consumer sentiment. But next week, okay, the only real driving catalyst next week predominantly is the Fed. Obviously, there's, a whole lot going on, but there's not going to be any Fed speak because there can't be, because the Fed's in a quiet period, right? So all you have is standing between, us and next Wednesday is some free flowing marketplace. Nevertheless, okay, what will volatility look like? As I said on Wednesday night's video, this past Wednesday night, that volatility would crush. It's important to know that next week is only pricing right now 112 points. This week, we're at 128 points. And quite frankly, today just started. So you're going to have an expected move next week of probably well under $100 expected move. That is volatility contracting. In my opinion, we'll probably see anywhere from a $90 to $95 expected move next week, which is between a 30 and 40% collapse in the weekly expected move. So just to give you a feel for this, okay, which, look, from my seat here, you have volatility collapsing by 35 to 40%, right? Everybody okay with that? Don't worry about individual stocks. We're not going anywhere. But we have volatility collapsing by, just 30 to 40%. But the truth is, we moved from basically, 5,400 to 5,600. It's a 200 handle SPX move, following the previous week with a 200 handle SPX move. And yet we're collapsing volatility. And you think about that, and it's wild, because given the fact that we've had the capacity to move and so move so substantially. But the most interesting thing is that moves higher, collapse volatility, even though we're making a dramatic move. You almost have to kind of redefine, what you think and of volatility to some degree. And I've been saying that for years now. So the S&Ps, okay, not moving around that much. Nasdaq is in a fairly tight range to begin with. By the way, this may not look like a tight range to you, but I think everybody should be aware. Nasdaq was moving 50, 80 handles in a minute the other day. So It is still a relatively tight range for Nasdaq, even though we're still kind of in this like a little bit of an opening rotation. We're very close to cracking some of the overnight highs, which is 19,488. Nothing to see here. So back over to the S&Ps. Similarly, the S&Ps fairly close to your overnight highs. And again, something that would really, it's not often I get surprised in the morning place, but look, that tick this morning was wild. It was positive almost 1,500, which is just raging strong. One other thing just caught my attention here too. Clear this screen really quick. As I zoom into this for just 1 second, check this out. So I'm in the S&Ps. Ladies and gentlemen, there's absolutely no volume. It's completely and totally dead. I was talking about yesterday. I was a little surprised there was some volume this morning. Look at this. I mean, there's minutes going through here. We're already under 3,000 contracts a minute. So not to set the tone for the day, but right now we're just floating. You know, markets are just kind of grinding a little bit. There's not a lot of conviction. We're at this point where we've rallied enough such that, okay, I'll explain this, but it's going to take a few moments. But look, we've rallied enough, okay, whereby those that are actually caught, you know, in short gamma positions may not even have to hedge because the delta of a lot of their short options, and I guess I'll give you the example this way. If you're short calls, even if they expire today, okay, if you're short calls, and I'm actually going to bring up delta for this, those short calls from earlier in the week that have kind of been rolled forward or were established for the for the entire week, those short calls as market maker would be deep in the money. So if you think that there's a lot of propensity to be able to move on a Friday, well, sure, but okay, the week started all the way down here at 5,400. We're now trading 5612. We're exactly 200 handles, as I was saying a moment ago, higher. If you were a market making firm and you're caught short anything in terms of calls here, all of those calls, first of all, the puts would be way out of the money. They're done, they're toast. But the short calls would be deep in the money. And a deep in the money short call has a delta of 1. These are not that deep in the money, they're like 0.78, but the delta of 1, which then implies that even dealers, market makers, don't even have much delta to hedge. Because all you basically do is if your delta is -1, like as we rally, your call goes in the money, the delta goes to -1, you just add a +1 to it. How do you do that? Usually futures, or for instance, buying shares of spiders. Anyway, it's a like almost perfect offset, and it's locked up, and we sail off into the sunset. That is, we go off into the weekend, and everything kind of gets reset for the following week as they start to roll trades forward. Nevertheless, it's one of the reasons that I would believe, like, look at this last minute, we did less than 2,000 contracts, which is, again, you're, 11 minutes into a trading session and there's nothing going on right now. So, I know that's an exciting concept for today's marketplace. There's absolutely nothing going on. Advanced decline line, again, sloptastic. Those ticks are still positive. Let's go look at some individual stocks almost right off the bat. Again, I'll also give everybody the heads up. As I reiterated a moment ago, and I'll reiterate again right now, consumer sentiment is coming. It's coming! University of Michigan Consumer Survey Sentiment Questions households each month on their assessment of current conditions. What do you feel? Okay, I feel special. And of course, it's our 420. That's 420 respondents. I'm serious. I can make crap up. You don't have to. You just don't have to anymore. Why make it up? Okay, I mean, it's getting crazy out there. So with that, yeah, not a whole hell of a lot going on this morning. Bear with me as I actually have to drop a link into a chat room here momentarily. But again, not a huge amount of price action, but we are going to look again at some individual stocks that are most definitively big movers on the screen. So I'm going to do that right now. Get rid of that. Okay, let's start with well, first of all, let's start with gold. That's not an individual stock. I am well aware. Anyway, gold highs and new highs. This is something that I was talking about also yesterday. I'm a little, edgy inside of gold because exactly what I stated is coming to fruition. No feel for the dollar. If I don't have a feel for a dollar, I'm not. I don't mind saying like, oh, I think gold can go to highs, but I try not to talk about stuff that I don't have positions in. And right now, frankly speaking, I'm not comfortable taking positions in gold. And I'm not comfortable taking positions in gold, not because, it's gold or any other reason with the product. It's because I'm not comfortable with the dollar. Like the dollar right now it's getting sketchy out there. I mean, I was surprised the dollar actually rallied back up, but now I'm looking at it and thinking like, holy crap, this thing is going to break lows in the next couple of days. Look at this. On a 3-year, you break this 100 level, that is going to take gold to even higher. I mean, this is crazy. It is crazy. This is an all-time high though in gold. In fact, you can bring up I'll just bring up like a 15-year in here and you can get a quick feel. It's this is a big boy move. There's no question about it. Gold breaking out to the upside, up some 1% today. In terms of individual stocks, one of the first ones on the docket this morning would be Uber. Okay, Uber is in partnership expanding Waymo, whatever the hell you want to call it. By the way, if you guys haven't tried that, it's freaking cool. They have them everywhere here. If you have no idea what I'm talking about with Waymo, okay, it is fully autonomous ride hauling, which is awesome. It is awesome. I've actually driven around them a ton recently, and the fact of the matter is they're expanding it now. I want to say Atlanta and one other major city. Apologize for not knowing off the top of my head. It was Atlanta, okay, which is a pretty significant. Oh, and Austin, Texas, into next year. So surprised they hadn't actually done Austin before. It's a tech kind of town. Anyway, onward and upward. Next big one to actually discuss this morning, okay, is Adobe. So in terms of Adobe, they're getting absolutely crushed this morning. In all fairness, the stock is down some $56. And before I ever comment about like, oh, the stock's getting crushed. So it's a fairly significant move. Like, I think we'd all agree on that. But I don't like to say like, oh, this thing is getting killed. Okay, it's down $56. Just take a quick glance with me over here at the expected move. It opened this morning in and around the 536, dropped another $6. Okay, it was only expecting about a $42 move. So it is absolutely, like Adobe is absolutely outside the expected move. Okay, but it is not like, it's not crazy, it's not wild. It's getting hammered though. But it's not like a two standard deviation move. Come on, people. It's $84. That's much more significant out there. Look at this. The S&P is continuing to try to grind a little higher. So Adobe is obviously in the news. Another one that is, again, this one is actually interesting too. Etsy is actually up a little bit. There's a crackdown going on in China regarding counterfeit stuff, which is interestingly enough, cruise over to Baba. Okay, and Baba's not having a big impact, but the news absolutely is having some impact. You know what is being affected though? This is the owner of Temu, PDD, the owner of Temu. This thing is getting beaten up pretty good on this. After a precipitous drop a few weeks ago on earnings, stock continues to actually to fall to some degree. So Baba, PDD, okay, Etsy, all reacting, okay, to news out of China. Speaking of China, it's well worth bringing up the FXI. Nothing going on here. A little bit of a bid back to it, but nothing all that sustainable. Bear with me here for a second as I go back to the S&Ps. I see the S&P is popping up. Today, it's a little bit of the financials. Okay. Energy's actually got a good strong move to the upside. There's nothing, though, to speak of going on in big tech today. Big tech looks kind of exhausted. The only mover really on the screen, it's to the tune of 1%, is probably Tesla right now. So the S&Ps, though, continue to take off to the upside. Speaking of the S&Ps to the upside, this is, of course, the expected move. That's the upper edge of the expected move. We flew from there, but here's the most interesting thing is we're almost back to where we were last week. It's wild. Okay. I mean, that's a wildly large move. You're still, 20, 30 handles shy of it, but almost back to where we were last week. A really, really big move. Moving on. Obviously, most people are familiar with Boeing. It too is in the news. Once again, some ugliness going on over there. The stock has, and I just wanted to bring this up because I think it's a little bit overblown right now in the news. This could turn into a complete debacle, but the stock suffered dramatically after union overwhelmingly voted to strike. It's unfortunate. This company just cannot catch a bid to save itself. And one of the things I'm surprised at, and the only reason I'm really bringing it up, is I'm surprised actually it's held up better than I would have anticipated. That may sound crazy, but you could look at this company and this could easily be trading under $100 within a few weeks' time. We'll see how this actually goes. It's interesting, that I guess the strike comes at a time of incredible weakness for the firm. So you got that going for you. Again, I'm not like enthusiastic about this at all, but I'm actually kind of surprised that it pulled back up. It's only $5 off the lows, but this news sounded pretty dire on top of, well, what's already dire news. Oracle, huge bid in the pre-market. This was actually their own guidance. So big bid. Interestingly enough, they're fading it. Okay. By the way, if you guys haven't looked at Oracle in a long time, okay, this will actually shock you. Watch this in a max chart. So this is obviously the tech boom. It's the highest point Oracle's ever been. Okay, highs, new highs. So Oracle, which is what I would construe as old school tech, Oracle, start paying attention again. Why? And you realize it's almost a $500 billion market cap. That one kind of catches me off guard. I was just looking at this for the first time in a really, really long time the other day. And I was like, holy crap, like, when was the last time I actually took a good look at Oracle? Survey says not for a long time. I mean, it's not quite as big as Walmart, but not too far off. But Oracle, again, facing a $500 billion. What's a $500 billion amongst friends? Speaking of Walmart, this thing looks like a tech stock right now, which is fairly wild here, up some 50% on a year-to-date basis. People, I have problems with this one. Like, this makes me really want to short Walmart. Am I alone on that one? Am I alone? How about IBM? Okay, I'm not looking at IBM. Okay, they're not making a comeback. You start to think to yourself, when you start looking at like IBM and Oracle, I'm like, there's nothing left to buy. You look at Walmart, it's friggin' Walmart, okay? It's friggin' Walmart. Have you been to Walmart? Okay, there's still the naked baby running around, right? People coming in there, half dressed, okay, looking for toilet paper, and yet it is literally what? 665. I don't even care about the market cap, which is $665 billion. I care about the fact that it's up 50%. Like, is it? I guess I ask the question, is this really 50% better off than it was just a few months ago? I have a tough time with that one. I really do. Like, I don't mind saying I have a tough time trying to wrap your arms around something that, look, in my trading career, Walmart, it's freaking Walmart. It's a stock with a nail in its foot. I'm not going to move And if I do, it's not going to be much. And if I do, I'm also going to move back to exactly where I was a little while ago. I mean, this thing moved from roughly from 2000, which is where my mouse is right now, to basically, here's 2011. It did absolutely nothing. It thought about moving. By the way, it's so interesting because if you look where the stock started moving, Walmart, okay, what happened in late 2011? What happened in here? Why did this stock all of a sudden start moving? Okay. I have one. I mean, my theory, quantitative easing. I mean, yeah, money was being juiced into the financial crisis, but the twist program and really big, like funky versions of quantitative easing came into play right in the neighborhood when Walmart started moving big. And then, okay, in later years, they just started giving the money away. Just, take it, take it. But right now, the acceleration to the upside, okay, is completely unfounded. Like, look at the acceleration this year. It's never, ever had movement like this. Okay. I mean, again, it's dangerous to short Walmart, maybe, but it's one where I think you short this stock for the long haul. People, this is what defines a parabolic, parabolic chart. Okay. Anyway, the I'm not gonna read that comment in chat. Okay. I will let it stand, but that is all I will do. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, this one. All right. So onward and upward. Here's another one, a sign of the economy. RH, Restoration Hardware. Okay. Now this, in previous earnings announcements, was getting freaking killed. This is a big bid back. This is an interesting one because it's not, again, categorically speaking, what I would have expected in the present economic environment. And yes, I'm looking at think back because it's expected move. I don't look at Restoration Hardware on a day-to-day basis. The expected move is $31. Actual move, 51. So when I say something like, holy crap, this thing is way outside its expected move, I'm saying right now, holy crap, this thing's way outside of its expected move. Restoration Hardware, though, big boy, move to the upside. But it baffles me. It baffles me because we're looking for like an economic slowdown, but maybe they just cost cut. Because you can see Restoration Hardware in the previous quarter had lost money. Okay. Now all of a sudden they found it again. That's some special was it super micro computer SMCI? That's some special super micro stuff right there. We're super microing apparently. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, super micro, they might be cooking the books. I'm not allowed to make any outlandish allegations, but super micro might be cooking the books. They don't use that term anymore. They don't. Okay. Everything's been softened. It's been softened. It's politically incorrect to say cooking the books. Let me tell you something. I'm bringing back politically incorrect. I really don't give a damn. Speaking of politically incorrect, let's bring up mRNA. Okay, as this gets pounded once again. Can I say that? Okay, there's not a lot of fans of like Moderna out there. People don't agree on much, but they often agree here that Moderna sucks, and it definitely does. So with that, I'm going to take you guys through the consumer sentiment survey. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over because it's Friday, and I actually have to go. We're going to be in the room today doing the live event. Again, here's another day. I am a little taken back, a little surprised that the S&Ps are up as much as they are. Just being aware, there's just no volume out there today at all. It's dead. Now, I'm not going to say that that's true of yesterday. Yesterday, we still traded decent amounts. Yesterday, we actually even did 53 million option contracts yesterday. So you got that going for you, but tech is not, it's not involved right now. Okay? It is largely dead. The driver today is the unusual suspect of financials, and the bigger is energy. So yeah, I'm all over the board today. It's good. Energy, look at this. This is a bid back. This is like what I often call like a bounce and fade. It's a big fade. There's a bid back. might be a good short. But energy has had it's a rough ride the last couple of weeks. It's probably a decent thing to see it having a degree of a bid back. Also, nowhere to be found. The bond market dead. Dead as dead can be today. Consumer sentiment survey here in about 2 minutes, though, could change that with decent volume. So I'm actually going to bring the professor, Jeff Bierman's coming on here momentarily. And I'll bring him into the fold, bring him into the conversation for just a moment. But, okay, I'll stay on with you guys until...
TheoTRADE Justice.
Hello, you're actually live right now, so you might not want to talk there, Jeff. He's in my ear whispering me sweet nothings. All right, here, wait, I can mute him. Yeah, I muted him. Sweet. Okay. Anyway, I know you guys, he's waiting in the wings over here, but Jeff will be on for the next hour. He might miss breakfast. You're not gonna miss breakfast, Jeff. Just calm down. So anyway, he's muted though right now. It's better that way. It's much better that way. Anyway, S&P is right now up some 19 handles. So is there any movement priced in as we're waiting for this consumer sentiment survey? Is there any like residual movement priced in for today's trading session? Survey says absolutely. Look at this. Still $32 priced in for today. Now that one, again, I saw this earlier today and I thought to myself, oh, what gives? I mean, it's just, again, that seems like a lot of volatility still being priced in. Okay, there's my alarm. So Jeff, you can come on and speak if you want to. It's okay, Jeff. You can come out of hiding over there.
This is another typical Friday.
What's a typical Friday?
You wake up and the market's just up for no reason except it's just up.
There's always a reason. There's more buyers. You know, this week the bounce back is man, it's getting more and more dangerous out there. I mean, I've said for a while, and again, we're waiting for the consumer sentiment survey, but I've said for a while, like I wouldn't be surprised to see us hit all-time highs. I mean, we're that close. I wouldn't, after last week though, I am a little surprised to rally back. However, I would still argue to the bitter death, the risk reward right now is horrific.
Oh.
And I mean that by being long. Like I'm saying, like if you're long markets right now, I just don't think that that's a good risk reward. I think that there's upside potential. Okay, here's consumer sentiment too. Look at that. They like me. They really, really like me. I can't believe that markets move like this on consumer sentiment. By the way, I shake my head every time. I know we're not using cameras today. I just shake my head every single time I see the consumer sentiment survey. Okay, it's a special bunch of kids. And they're whacking the market on this too. It's a special bunch of kids that have the 420 respondents. Okay, and people think that that was just circumstance. That just no, that was definitely that's a thing. That is a thing out there. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to you momentarily here. Obviously, the consumer sentiment survey was highly anticipated. The S&Ps, though, all over the place. Look at this candle. You just traded 27, okay, down to roughly what, 10. You know, what's 20 S&P handles amongst friends? You know, it's tens of billions of dollars, and it's moving on ridiculous surveys right now. Nothing else, by the way, moved on that. Nothing. I mean, not even volatility didn't budge. The only thing that moved that moment was obviously these S&Ps. So, Jeff, what do you have in store for us today?
I'm just going to do a follow through of part 2 of a PSAR discussion on getting the most out of your PSAR. And it's funny, the weirdest thing is when we were last night down in the room
I'm a
doing
child.
the meet and,
I'm sorry you say PSAR. I still start laughing.
I know, but we were in that meet and greet and a bunch of people walked up and said, oh, I trade off of that. And I'm like, great, then I'll talk about it tomorrow.
All right. My PSAR hurts. All right.
I know.
Bear with us for just a moment. We're going to stop the broadcast, bring Jeff Bierman back on here momentarily. So hang with us. Yeah, the PSAR thing. I'm sorry, like literally, I still like, I'm over here like giggling every single time he mentions that.
I know.
Yeah, I'm a large child. So stay tuned. Jeff Bierman will be back here in just a few moments if I can. Jeff, I'm cracking up because I'm like, I don't know. I'm on limited screen like over here. So stay tuned. Jeff will be back here.